Guys, I'm Bill Rookstool with Cross Country, the AMG team. We have a lot of our cross country members on here today. Guys, feel free to chime in whenever you want here. If you have any comments that you want to add on here, please feel free to jump in here at any time. And like I said, questions are welcome. This is interactive. I'm going to be asking you guys some questions just to sort of ponder and see where maybe your business is. When we're doing a presentation like this on how to win the deal, just understand, I'm going to go through a lot of material, but every market is hyper localized. Okay. The Philadelphia market is way different from Doylestown. Doylestown is different from Milford. Milford is different from Chester. Every market is going to be a little bit different. We're very familiar with all of these markets and our approach. So I'm going to go through a lot of different options. It really depends on the neighborhood, the area you're in, the approach you're going to take to win the deal. But that doesn't change the premise of what I want to go through with you guys today, which is going to be the most important thing that we're going to touch on. So before we do that, though, real quick, guys, if you're not using HomeBot, it's the best technology in the mortgage and real estate business. Okay. If you don't want to use your clients to Zillow, use HomeBot. So use this QR code, check this software out. It's the best software from a searching tool for your clients, and also to keep in touch with your clients on a monthly basis. Guys, I have 2,000 clients in my HomeBot Digest database. I have an 80% open rate with 2,000 clients every single month. If anyone on this call has a software that they use, any CRM with an 80% open rate on that kind of number, let me know now. Do you guys, anybody? Can anyone show me that kind of number? I could pull it up on the screen, guys, literally, and show you. For those, there's a lot of people on the call, by the way, you've seen the numbers. So check that out when you can, okay? All right, so let's get into this. So I just want to start by, kind of asking you guys a few questions, and you can jot these down and sort of think about these, on your own here. But let's look at the first question. What is your take on this market? John, is it a great market? It's a good market to buy. Should you not be buying because rates are too high? What's your take? You guys are real estate professionals. What is your take on the market? Or let me ask you a question. Is your buyer telling you their take on the market? And does that make any sense?
I think it's a great time to buy right now, but I've also seen a lot of the research, and there's a lot of reasons why, but the biggest reason why it's a great time for buyers to buy right now is because they're not, as rates drop this summer, buyers are going to be right back where they were last year, where it's even more multiple offers and even higher paying over list price.
We're going to get totally into that, Kenny. And guys, this is just really a Q&A or a question time. Just do a little reflection here. If you do have a take on the market, you just wrote down, the market stinks. The market's great. The rates, how about rates went up? What an opportunity for my buyers. I just got an extended opportunity. Is that your take on the market? I can tell you it's mine. I can tell you it's most investors' take. Wow, I just got maybe a 3-month bigger window of opportunity to buy before all these people come flying back into the market. Whatever your take is, do you have education that you provide your clients? Do you have numbers that you show them? Do you have a buyer consultation that shows them the data? Do you go back on historical data and show them what did the last decade look like? How about we'll go back to the 70s. Last time we had inflation and the Fed moving like this would be the 70s, right? Into the 80s under Volcker. Are you showing them any of that? Are you showing them how real estate performs in recessions? What are you talking to them about unemployment right now? Unemployment drives real estate, right? Doesn't that need to be part of the question, part of the conversation, I should say? Interest rates are a gigantic factor. What is your take on CPI? What's your take on the next 3 months CPI? What was the last spring, February, March, April, what were their CPI datas that are going to be falling out of this month over month, 12-month rolling average? How's that going to affect CPI for you? How's that going to affect inflation? How is it going to affect interest rates? It's a direct correlation, guys. That CPI number is going to be a direct reflection on their interest rate. Please, guys, mute if you can. Caitlin, please handle the muting. And guys, if that's a direct reflection, isn't that a direct reflection on what you're showing them their payment's going to be? Here's one. Why do people work with you? Write it down. Why do people work with you? Guys, on the loan officer side too, write it down. Do you educate your clients as best, the best that they can be educated in the market? Do they get the house because of you? Ask that question. In a multiple offer scenario, that's what we're really going through today. In a multiple offer scenario, do they win the offer because they work with you? Because they work with Steve Diano, right? Or because they work, with Adam Boxman? Do they win the offer because of it, guys? Do they believe in you? And do you believe in you? And when I say that, guys, that's more of a take on the market. When it comes to sales, everyone on this call, guys, we're all in sales. Do you think it's more important that you're 100% right and that they believe you're 100% right on every piece of data? Or is it more important that they believe that you believe you're right?
If they believe you're convicted.
Conviction. If you believe something, they can tell. That's where there's no certainties, there's no guarantees, there's no way, no one is right all the time. There's no way you're ever going to be right all the time, guys. But do you have an opinion? There is so many people in this market without an opinion that just want to open a door. Those people are not going to be in the business in a year from now. There will be 400,000 agents that will leave the business, guys. Those people will be out of the business. Are your buyers hesitant right now and scared? Are they? Like Steve Talon right now, he is hesitant and scared, I can tell. But honestly, do you consistently feel like you're dealing with buyers that they're just not sure? You know what? I'm not sure. I need to talk to somebody else. Maybe you're not getting all the decision makers in the room at one time. Or maybe they just don't feel confident enough in you because you haven't taken that role. You haven't empowered yourself, potentially. You have all the knowledge. A lot of you have been in the business for, how many years? We do this, how often you're looking at the market, the information, but are you taking that, in a disc profile, that driver stance and telling them what you think they should do? Do your clients, do they want to be led? 100%. That's why they're coming to you. You're the professional, right? Now, ask yourself this. How many offers have you guys lost in the last year or two? I just lost to one other offer. I was so close. You call them in the morning and you say, we were right there. It was one other offer that beat us. Is that a fun call to make? That's almost worse than we never even had a shot, because that means you had a shot. It just didn't happen for you. Could something have gone different? How many games the ball bounces in a different direction and one team wins versus the other? Or one turnover in a football game, right, determines it. Every sport. This is competitive, guys. You are in a competitive business. You are making offers on pieces of real estate against each other in some cases, but against the entire market that's not here right now. This is a competitive situation. There is a winner and a loser. No one gets the participation trophy when you put offers in, do they? So how often does that happen? And then ask yourself this. How many buyers do you have that have been looking for a house for over a year? Just think about how many buyers you talk to. Have they been looking for over a year? So our goal when I'm going through this, guys, and we do this with the people we work with closely and partner with is how I would more, express the relationships I think that we have. And the goal is to increase your conversions by 20%. And just think about what does 3, 4, 5 more deals look like for you next year, or this year, I should say, right? Because if you follow the right process, okay, you can 100% increase your conversion by that. I'm in a coaching company across the country. It's called The Core. I see this all the time. It's a real estate coaching company and a mortgage coaching company. People increase their conversions. We track our conversions from leads. I track my conversions with every realtor, okay? So this can be done. So I want you to look at it. Every battle is won before it's fought. It's like the art of war, right? You guys agree with that statement? I have a new statement for you. Every home offer, it's won before they see the house. It's won before they see the house. It's not won 10 minutes before they put the offer in. That's just not how it works. Sometimes, I'm not saying, look, sometimes that can work for you and good for you. That's awesome. Good for the client. Honestly, though, I would be looking back at myself and saying, wow, that was lucky. Did I really do a good job for this client? Not really, right? What if you would have had a cash offer you were competing against? Would you have won? So the point is, converting leads, guys, it's a process. It starts, and this seems very self-serving. I get it, right? It does. How do you refer your lender? Do you refer multiple lenders? If you do, you're nuts. I don't care if you refer us. I'm just telling you, and I get the compliance side, and people want to make different arguments. I'm telling you, you are confusing the process and you are losing deals. When you get multiple type A personalities giving different pieces of advice into the equation, what do you think happens to that buyer that doesn't know real estate, that doesn't know mortgage financing? This is their first purchase or a move up. What are they going to do?
Get paralysis from analysis.
They do 3 things. We're going to talk about this a couple times. 3 F's. They freeze is the one thing that they do almost all the time. Flight, they just decide, all right, I'm going to go rent because this is too confusing. It's scary. If they're getting the right advice from one person that's channeled and focusing them with their realtor and everyone's lockstep on the same page, they fight through that and they get the house. They decide, you know what, there was a reason why I called and I wanted to buy a home. Oh, wait a minute. I'll never be wealthy if I don't own real estate. So I should probably try and get into the real estate market. 2/3 of the United States wealth is in real estate. 2/3, you cannot be wealthy without owning real estate. So when they decide to freeze and flight, whose fault was it? How important is the financing, guys? I'm guaranteeing you your conversion rate 100% depends on it. It's the number one thing. They're not concerned about the kitchen. They are not concerned about the kitchen. They're concerned about the financing. What is my payment going to be now? What is the market? What is going to happen in the market? What happens to real estate in recessions? Oh my God, it's going to go through the floor. That's not what happens to real estate during recessions. Rates are going to be at 15% no, they're not. 100%. Guys, by the way, I'll show you where these rates are going. I will bet anyone any amount of money this summer that rates are significantly lower by the end of the summer than they are now. Without any doubt whatsoever. I can guarantee it. And I'm going to show you what that's going to look like, by the way, to this real estate market. So converting leads, is having one of the things that we do every other week is we do a home buying seminar. Guys, it's really a real estate forecast or incentive. It's really giving people the information on why they should be buying. And I can tell you, even myself, over the last 6 months, I've looked at it from an investor standpoint. I build homes, I invest, right? I do development. I've looked at this and the other investors that I work with, just from the dig groups that I go to, the big developers and people that I know. I mean, this is the opportunity, guys. Recessions are garage sales for the wealthy. That's what they are. And this is the opportunity. I looked at it as, I thought I only had until about May. Now I know I probably have until about June, maybe early July. I'm still looking. And I'm walking the walk. I'm going to be building 2 homes right here in Britain Borough. Okay. I'm currently, remodeling and doing a project with a partner who's actually on here for an Airbnb hotel in Kennett Square. I sold a 15-unit development project early last year when I saw, cost of construction going through the roof and it was in Philadelphia, that I just didn't want to work with that project. It wasn't close to home to manage. So I'm looking right now. And I can tell you, by the way, Philadelphia will be the market that I shoot back in because I think that's going to be some of the best opportunities. So are you doing a home buying seminar? We do it every other week because we need to give that information directly to them. We want to be the authority on that. We do budgeting seminars for people before they're ready to buy. Brian, my brother, actually presents those budgeting seminars. They might be a year out. Why not work on a budgeting seminar? Do that with your lending professional. The other things I'm going to show you too, a real estate report card. I'm going to show you by county. You can do it by zip code, county, the demographics, meaning how many housing formations are coming, how many new construction is going to be built in that area. What is the projection, as far as annual appreciation in 5 years? You guys know, most of you know me. You've been on this call. I've been doing this for years and years here. I mean, during COVID, we follow Barry Habib. I'm going to show you him. We made projections on this because we follow his software. All of that's his software. Avalon, 37% 1 year. And we said, go buy a lake house, go buy a beach house immediately, right? He was pretty accurate, and I'm going to show you that. So we do rent versus own reports. We do creative strategies. We're going to show you some of those, guys. We offer grants. You got to motivate people, give them free money. That motivates people. Investor reports. And we go through strategies with people on how to acquire full portfolios if they want to really be an investor. If you're not controlling this narrative, guys, this is who's controlling it. This woman, yes, I am starting a petition. I would like to see her arrested. Okay. This is Diane Oleg from CNBC. She should be arrested. Here's what, if you just Google some of the articles on how wrong she's been on real estate, and this one was from 2011. Okay. Guys, she's been telling you the market's going to crash for over a decade and a half. Somehow she's still on TV. Here's the numbers in PA. The last quarter, we're up 0.34. The last year, we're up almost 10%. We're up almost 50% in 5 years. How much money has she stolen from people? Who wants to arrest her and make a citizen's arrest? Guys, you should be upset. Because when you're not getting the right, when your clients are giving you that pessimistic feedback, where do you think they're getting it from? They're getting it from the media. Fear is what sells on the media. They love fear. Now, the law of repetition states that repeating a behavior makes it more powerful. They hear her all the time. Each suggestion acted upon creates less opposition to successive suggestions. The question is, are they hearing you? And that's where I go back to, are you doing a home buying seminar? Are you doing a real estate forecast? Are you teaching? Are you doing budgeting? Even when that's for, all of your leads that you have. But just think about the sales cycle. Someone starts, with Stacy and they're going to buy. They might be 6 months out. So if you're not, plugging them into different things and giving them different information on the reality of the housing market, which I'm going to show you, all they're going to get is Diane. That's all they're going to hear. Diane on the media. And it's going to be all negativity. Guys, it's owned by BlackRock and Vanguard, all these news stations too, and all this negativity. What's BlackRock and Vanguard's doing right now in real estate?
Buying it up.
Buying everything
Buying it up. And they don't have to worry about a 30-year fixed mortgage, by the way. They're going to own 15% of the residential real estate market. Okay, residential real estate just became an asset class to them 10 or so years ago. So all these Wall Street companies and Canadian companies, I think in the Sun Belt, they were 25% of the offers last year. So as they give you negative information, they just go buy. If you need data like this, this is every state. This shows you, the averages. This was 1 year, that's 5 years. So the country actually did 59% appreciation as Diane was giving you the negative info. So who's this, guys?
Jim Cramer.
Jimmy Cramer. Mad money. Buy, sell. Guys, people watch him because he has an opinion. He's not wishy-washy. Right? This is where you need to be assertive and empower yourself as the professional. Okay, it builds instant credibility. So where I think we fall short, or where I think this falls off the rails with a lot of people, is if you look just at a desk profile. Okay, most of you probably have seen this before. You know, your high Ds. Okay, they're going to give you that information immediately, right? They're very direct. These are your CEOs, your business owners. Typically, they're your high Ds. That's only 11% of people. Most people are going to fall in that high I S category, right? Steady and the influencers there. 17% of people are the Cs. They need all the details laid out. And if you are, I can tell you the majority of the people on this call, your real estate agents, your salespeople, you're all high Is for the most part. With some, some of you have, the dominant factor in there too. Engineers, when they buy from you, you guys drive them nuts. I think, I feel, I think we're going to just, instead, you never give them numbers. It drives them nuts. Okay. Attorneys, high D, they walk all over you and then you take their opinion. What I want you guys to think about doing is selling more with facts, data, information. Okay. So it takes the I feel out. I hate, I feel. Show the information and show what you would do and lead. There's a great book. It's called Lead, for God's sake. Right. And again, this goes back to the 3 F's. If you don't do it, if you don't channel that inner dominant side of you as a high I, and you just want to talk about it, they're going to make their own opinion. Do they know better or do you know better? How many houses have they seen? How many houses have they sold? How many home inspections have they been through? How many appraisals have they looked at? So the number one thing we do, and look, this is a marketing tool. This is the number one thing we do for our realtors as far as partner with them and for our clients when they're buying a house, is we put $10,000 basically hard into the transaction most of the time. Sometimes we've been doing it now for so long, we joke about it and everything else. Look, the reason we don't do this is we don't want to see you lose to cash. We had an offer yesterday, 600 range. We won over cash. We win over cash all the time because we're offering $10,000, meaning if they want to go back to that cash offer, they get my check for 10 grand. Sounds like a pretty good deal. And cash offers, they think that we're cash. We don't have to come up. We're cash. They're going to go with us. No, they're not. Because we're going to talk to them and we're going to make them feel comfortable with going with your offer. And we're going to waive every contingency. Guys, this $10,000 guarantee, I flip to the buyer as often as I can. Because if he has the cash in the bank, I just tell the buyer, put a cash offer in, bud. I'll give you the guarantee. I'll write you a $10,000 check if your mortgage falls through. It's not falling through. We've already underwritten the property. We've already underwritten you as a borrower, right? The worst case scenario that can happen would be a low appraisal for the most part. Well, okay, I'll address that with you too. We have a candid conversation. Do you want to buy the house? Are you motivated? Okay. Are you okay with a low appraisal? I'll show you how we do that. But it's not okay to lose to cash. Don't give yourself that thought process. We have some, top agents don't give them that's not in their vocabulary. We're not going to lose. Like, we go through this pre-close with a lot of our agents, like Janique, for example. She's really good she's not going to lose to cash, and she's really good at being on I would say more the dominant side and leading her client, right? And she probably wouldn't even want to put an offer in without the guarantee. The more deals, like Adam Boxman's another one. You won't put an offer in without the guarantee. The more deals typically a buyer agent does with us, the more that they want to use this guarantee, or they won't put an offer in without it. They force their clients. So when their clients come to them and say, you know what, I'm working with Quicken Loans, who lost $500 million last quarter. I'm just going to use that pre-approval. Do you think that they allow that conversation to happen? And it's not because they love working with us so much, or we're friends. We're definitely friends. Everyone on this call thinks of their pocket first. You're in sales, 100%. You think of your pocket first. No, they know they're in a way worse position. Adam Boxman, for example, if you know him, he is just going to beat your ear until you listen to him. He's not going to allow you to do it, right? Janique is going to be very direct and lead it. Both of them will have the same result.
Hey, Bill.
Yeah.
It's not only just that, But I think, I mean, just a compliment to you guys, everyone knows you in the area. So most of the listing agents, or the top listing agents anyway, are using you guys. So that's another factor in the offer. So, I give the guarantee, I tell them who I'm using, which is you, and they have a peace of mind. So they can say to their, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, Janique's using Rookstool with Cross Country Mortgage and Ken Feynman, and I know it's going to go through. We're good. So there is like a peace of mind factor because it is, you guys are local. You are going to be, you give the closing cost estimates, the pre-approvals right away. You make the phone calls to the listing agent. There's a lot of different things that go into it, I think, for peace of mind for the listing agent and the seller, because I list a lot of homes too, but I don't get many calls from loan officers. I love that. Like every once in a blue moon, I get a call from a loan officer. Hey, the buyer agent who I'm working with and the buyers, or just put an offer in. I just want to let you know we're good, blah, 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 blah. So I think that's a huge factor and a peace of mind knowing that everything is going to be okay. And that'll give us kind of a step up over that cash offer, if that makes sense.
100%. And that goes back to the question. No, and thank you, Janique, but it goes to how many times did you lose by just one? Oh, there was just one person that beat us, or cash. This is where we convert them. That sounds like a process, right? Just like the credibility of the presentations throughout the process, the credibility of doing these seminars and presenting in the right way, guys, is why they're going to listen to you when, look, it's one more, it's between you and one more person. They got to put $2 more thousand, but you got two people now making that phone call, explaining to the buyer, if you want the house and it makes sense, you got to put $2 more thousand. That's where it's won and lost. It's the last 2 minutes of a game. Here's the other one. You shouldn't take a person in your car, okay, unless you've pre-closed the mortgage math on them. And you guys can do this so easily yourselves. Watch how it works, okay? $500,000 home. Buyer's putting 100 grand down, right? So they got 100 grand to put down, and they got 20K in closing costs. Let's just use round numbers. So the house, it's actually going to sell now. That's what it was listed for. But the real sales price is going to be $550, but it's only going to appraise at $500. Guys, actually, we've been getting these appraisals over asking right now, but let's just say it only appraises, at the $500. Well, guys, we still go at the $550 sales price. So it's the same loan amount. Wherever it appraises, nothing changes. It's $450,000. Instead of an 80% LTV, it's a 90% LTV. The payments difference for a 90%, guys, in this case, for like pristine credit, it's $93 a month. If someone's not willing to put up a $93 difference of mortgage insurance for a short period of time on a $550,000 home, they're not ready to buy and they shouldn't be in your car. So the question you ask yourself when you get in that situation next time, if it does, I hope it doesn't happen, is why were they ever in my car? Your time is precious. You only get so much of it, right? They shouldn't have been in the car. So look at these MI factors, guys. It's to do that math, by the way, the factor is 0.3. So you do 0.003 times the loan amount, and then you divide it by 12. So if you guys want to use your just look, these are the different factors for good credit. We can give you different factors, but just take on your phone real quick so you understand how to do it. And I can do this with you guys at any time. 450 times 0.003 gives you 1350 divided by 12. There you go. So look, worst case scenario, 97% factor here is 131, which is the 0.35 factor. Okay, so look, in this case, guys, real quick, why would you, and I'm going to use a different fact. Oh, I'm sorry, 0.25, guys. The 90% is 0.25. I was reading it wrong. 0.00225 times 4. I don't want people to be confused. 450,000 times 0.0025 divided by 12. There you go. You get your 93 and 75 cents. You guys got that? Guys, why would you, I would like, it would cringe on this kind of offer right now for me if the borrower had an appraisal contingency. Because they're not, why would you put an offer in like this? Like, do you want to buy the house? Look, worst case scenario, bud, $131. Do you think there's any way, by the way, that's a $516,000 appraisal at that point. No, I'm sorry. What's the 97? Let me do that math for you. 450,000. Okay. If you want to see the worst case scenario divided by 0.97, this could appraise for $463,000, guys, before this guy wouldn't be able to buy it, or before he would have to take one more dollar out of his pocket. It could appraise for 463 grand. Is there any way in this market that this house that you have competitive offers at right now is going to appraise at 463,000? No, right? So if you would, hey, worst case scenario, look, to beat out these other offers, are you okay with, you might have a payment of $131 more? Why would you ever use an appraisal contingency there, right? So you should be able to do that math and do that math on the fly, right? With every property, but more importantly, guys, is the pre-close. Do the pre-close. So look, I just want to, I'll fly through this for us and I'll get to some data for us, and then we could do some questions, but referring with a purpose, okay, the guarantees, review financing, that's the pre-close. Do mortgage math with them. Additional, whatever language that you can write additionally to take things out, do in the contract right now. And every market, guys, Philadelphia is way different than here. Letters to the seller, videos to the seller. We talked about the listing call. We're always talking about the property address in the listing call. We're going to strike anything that we can. Again, appraisals, strike them. Inspections, when you have to, strike them, right? And I'm not suggesting that necessarily, but guys, that's just the reality of a competitive situation, right? Not everyone, again, is going to get the house. Bullet points too. Here's the other one you can use. And we've backed into this because most homes are over appraising. If people have major concerns right now about their financing as far as affordability, let me show you how the 2-1 buy down works. And by the way, this is a great product to use for getting listings from builders. We're getting this approved in the city like almost every time. And in certain markets here. I can tell you, we had a home buying seminar a couple months ago. Lori McGoldrick had a buyer that was going to wait a year. And we talked about the 2-1 buy down. This was, I want to say 60 days ago. And that was a Tuesday. We had the home buying seminar. By Saturday, the guy, instead of waiting a year, was under contract for an $800,000 home with a 2-1 buy down, fully paid for by the seller, because this has to be paid for from concessions by the seller. It can be negotiated afterwards, but this is how it works. Your note rate is not moving down. So just easy math. If we're at 7%, to move you down to 5%, your note would still say 7. But for the first year in escrow, we hold the money of the $462 difference in payment, which totals $5,550. Okay. Plus the second year, it's only going to come down by 1%. But I think we can all agree, a savings of $462 on a sales price of $450 for the first year, that's going to motivate some people to buy, right? A lot of them, how do we buy in America, right? We sign a piece of paper, like it's not the sales price, guys. It's your monthly payment, right? So this is lowering the monthly payment on their loan amount for the first year by 2%, and second year by 1%. So if you add these totals up, it totals $83.90 that the seller has to contribute. That money goes into escrow. So if at the end of the year there's $6,000 or $5,000 left in that, and rates are in the high 4s or low 5s, and your borrower wants to refinance into a 30-year fixed, they get that money and it pays for their closing costs. So a really, really good program. And sometimes, we're able to back into it from the appraisals. They've just been coming in over value in a lot of cases. So I talk about Diane Oleg. Here's where we get all of our data from for the most part. It's the Crystal Ball Award winner. If you guys were at Family Reunion, he spoke to everyone. His name's Barry Habib. Crystal Ball Award winner, okay, is the #1 real estate economist in the country. He's won it 3 times. So he's pretty good at his stuff. Here's when you're talking to your clients, the #1 things you need to think macro, okay? If we think macro here, let's look at recession, unemployment, housing that we talked about. Current unemployment rate's at 3.4%. It's not true, okay? Because the last employment number was complete bogus. They made an adjustment for over 800,000 for unaccounted, undocumented workers from 2022 to manipulate the data, guys. Total manipulation of the data. It's just false data. Hopefully we get a better number this, I believe, Friday that comes out. So for every 1% unemployment goes up, okay, we're going to lose 1.5 million jobs. 1.5 million jobs. So look, we go up by 2%. We just lost 3 million jobs. Oh my God. right? Recession, real estate's going to do terrible. It's not. In every recession, I'll show you mortgage rates come down. They're going to come down dramatically. Okay, for every 1% we come down in mortgage rates, guys, 5 million more people can enter the market that are going to qualify for a home. So as you're talking to your clients about recession, that's the big macro numbers that you need to understand. Because the number of buyers that are going to be bidding on these properties is going to increase dramatically when the rates come down. There's 332 million people in the US. So that's not the discussion that's happening on TV though, is it? Or at the water cooler. Circle, guys, I want everyone to circle May 10th on your calendar. May 10th is when the CPI data we think will turn dramatically, and I don't think we're going to look back after that. And I'll show you why. I'm going to give you like a quick run through of just some of the reports we do real quick, and also just like a highlights on some of the housing forecasts, which we're doing a housing forecast, by the way, on the 23rd for your clients and for you. But here's what happens to unemployment during recessions, guys. You can see the years, 75, okay? Looks like 82. 2011, guys, unemployment goes up during every recession. Housing during every recession here, guys, pretty much has gone up. Why didn't it go up in 08? Because we caused it, right? It's an anomaly. The average LTV was 78% back then across the country. People, what do you think the average LTV is now in the country, guys? 42%. We've never had stronger equity. Okay, people don't foreclose when they have all of that 68% equity, do they? Does that make sense? So to think that, this recession is going to, cause some massive foreclosure event, it's just not in the cards, guys. Now, what happens to mortgage rates? Mortgage rates go down in every recession. Okay. Now, it's always at, when we're going into the recession, we're technically not even declared in a recession yet, right? Mortgage rates will come down. And again, 1% they decrease, 5 million more people come in the market. So celebrate the higher rate right now, guys, because you have way less competition. You have to set, that's how you need to be talking to your clients. Hey, rates are up. This is great. We need to look this weekend, because I could tell you in May and June and July, we're going to probably be in a 10, 15, 20 person multiple offer situation. I don't want that to happen to you. Number one, I don't want it to happen to you because you're a first-time home buyer and you only have 5%. So if you have to go over asking, you're not going to get the house. Does that make sense, guys? Some first-time home buyers that are holding off, everyone was waiting for years here, right? Literally multiple years, so that they could enter in the housing market. Now they have an opportunity and they're not doing it. It's crazy. They're just not getting the right message. Inflation, it's on its way down, guys. And you can see this. I'll show you what's going on with inflation. Inflation, it's like a roller coaster. 43% of the CPI number is housing, shelter costs, okay? Shelter costs lag. Why do they lag? This is where we're at right now, and this is what the CPI is reflecting. We're like right here, okay? We're going up here. And everyone's making a big deal about it like they don't understand how the report works. It's silly. These Federal Reserve presidents, they know how it works. I don't understand why they don't, explain this, but this is how they decide to extrapolate the data. So right here, this is year over year apartments. Okay, Jerome Powell actually mentioned this in his testimony. I was pretty happy about it yesterday. Guys, we're way down. This is where we were. But this is how the CPI reflects the data. They're still selling the CPI shelter costs, okay, at 7.9%. Why? Because these are leases that are signed. This shelter cost lags by about a year. So we're getting the data from a year ago. We know where the data is right now. We know it. That's 43% of inflation, guys. We know it's going to tank. It's going to happen unless there's some major escalation, right? Which you can't plan for. But that's the reality. We know that this CPI data, and guys, as the CPI data comes down, rates come down right with it. Inventory. This is what a bubble looks like, right? 4 million homes. Does that look like a bubble to anybody on this call? Under 1 million in inventory? By the way, we don't even have that because like 40% of this is under contract. 30-some% is under contract right now. Active homes. Guys, does this look like a lot of inventory to anybody? And I'll go through, when we do the forecast, everyone kind of just fly through this, but we do this in a lot more detail when we do the housing forecast or home buying seminar. So guys, no one's gonna, think about this as the reverse of selling a stock. Who's sold a stock at the exact peak before? Anybody sell their crypto at the exact peak? Right? So look, Case-Shiller, FHFA had real estate across the country down like 1-point-something%. Case-Shiller had it down like 2.7%. As these rates turn, and guys, I think like I'm sitting in the Bucks County market right now. Does anyone think the Bucks County market is going down right now? I can tell none of the suburb markets around here are going down, okay? Like even close. They're going up. I'm seeing multiple offers, just not as many multiple offers as we're going to see in the summer. You're not going to catch this, okay? But you want to, when you're talking to your clients, you want to buy right here. This is when the sellers are most fearful because they don't know where the bottom is. As soon as it turns, they become very confident. No, the market's on its way up. We're fine, honey. Time is our friend, okay? Don't try and time the market. You want to buy right here. You don't want to take the bottom, okay? And again, this is, I think Philadelphia, this is a perfect example of what everyone in Philadelphia should be showing their clients. Philadelphia is a different market as well. It's 51% investor concentration almost, which is why I think it's going to be where the opportunities are. People that have this extremely low rate, in these suburbs, they just don't want to move. They don't want to lose the low rate. So this is what happened on the last marketing bottom. Okay, this was back in 2012, guys. We had an 8% shoot up, okay, as soon as it bottomed. So that's right here. And by the way, there's a reason for this, but go through that later. And that was at 8% with 2.4 million homes to buy. So when we bottom and we only have 980,000 homes, what do you guys think is going to happen? I mean, our forecast, I'm not forecasting anything crazy. 1 to 3% is what I want to see. That's the range I want to see. Nothing crazy. Could it be? 100%, right? So let's go through this example here. You can use this as an opportunity. Home value at 500,000, mortgage amount at 400,000, rates rise by 1%. That's a $257 increase in payment. Okay, $3,000 is what it costs that buyer now. For additional 1%. Guys, it's really not bad. Can everyone just remember, basically at this point last year, or even a little bit earlier, when it was just normal to spend 50, 100,000 plus over the asking price? And it was like, well, that's what you got to do, right? Look at this for right now before you refinance. So let's say you can get, this is a Philadelphia example to the T, how I would roll it out to my clients. Let's say you can get a 2% discount right now on that home. Well, that saves you 10 grand. Prices rise as the rates decline. Let's say 3% in a year, right? Rates come down. You just made 15 grand. And let's say you got a refi. If you did a 2-1 buy down, your refi is paid for. But let's say it's not. You just made 20 grand by buying right now. So housing forecast, look, lower inflation. I think we beat that one to death. Recession, it's not a negative thing. Look, we're probably going into recession. Hopefully it's not too deep. The deeper it goes, guys, though, the lower the rates go. Incomes have been increasing, so affordability is actually way better than most people think. Inventory is still extremely tight. Rents are still very, very expensive. They're still rising. They're just not rising at 12+%. They're rising at 3%, which we just came back to normality. So single low digit pickup. Global tightening, our headwinds right now, we have global quantitative tightening, right? That's the banks that are making money more expensive. They're not buying, mortgage-backed securities or bonds. So there's more debt to be financed. Tailwinds, again, we have inflation's helping us, excess retail. Look, we see rates in the 5s, heading into the second half of the year, somewhere in the 5s, probably the upper 5s to start, and then we'll see where we end up. If I'm wrong, guys, Okay, and it's not even me. Again, this is Barry Habib. Okay, I take, you know, the best professionals, and I've known Barry Habib, by the way, for 15 years. I followed him, and I follow their stuff. If he is wrong, and if your clients are ever wrong on their purchase, one thing will affect it and fix it, and that's time. I can guarantee you over time that's going to come down. Those rates we will come down. We will come down, and I think, as far as if you ever pay too much for a home, the biggest factor you have working for you is time. These are some of the reports we do. We can, you know, dig deeper into these at any point, but we always do a rent versus own analysis for people, because rent is no picnic. This shows you how much more profitable it is to own a home. Again, 2/3 of the wealth is in real estate. I can go through these in depth with anyone. I just want to show you sort of what they look like, but that's your net gain in this situation by owning a home on a $550,000 home versus renting. These are co-branded. These are co-branded. All of this, like rent versus own, all of our reports that we do for clients can all be co-branded. This is an investment one, so it goes over your cumulative cash on cash. Okay, it goes over your appreciation gain. It goes over your amortization gain. If you're working with investors, this is something I can put together for you. Typically, investors that come through, I do have, you know, conversations with, just to help them strategize. So that's what these reports look like there. Bid over ask, that is something that you need to look at again. So we use the software that has predictive analysis, right? So the first, we know Barry's prediction for the next 12 months is basically 3%. So if you were buying a home, we calculate out, you know, for this, you know, this is Nate Hewitt on here. In 2 years, there's a break even if he were to spend that same $500,000 house, if he's spending $50,000 over asking. These are our real estate report cards. And these are the ones, like I said, I was pulling them up for everyone that was looking to buy beach houses. I was pulling up the towns. I was pulling up Seal, Avalon, Wildwood, you know, Arrow Lake, Lake Harmony. That's where we got all of these things. If you look at these, typically, like what these, I'll show you all these different reports. And if you want one on your particular, these can be co-branded, but if you want one on your particular area, I can tell you in these surrounding areas like Chester, Montgomery, Bucks, for the most part, it's like a 3% return with like a 20+% 5-year return. So, you know, look, buying real estate, where do you want your money right now? Recessions, does the stock market do very well? Typically, no. So these are all the different markets, and I can send these to you guys, or if you guys want to look at them. The key to this is this, though. When you're looking at a location, whether this is like Philadelphia County, for instance, that's why you have so many people. It's giving you the data. So it tells you you're going to have 5,700 in this county, right? So this is Chester. It shows you the data, because housing is supply and demand. It's not a stock. You know, we're not buying it because the metaverse is going to be what takes over, you know, in 10 years, and we're all going to have goggles on our head. That's not why you're buying real estate, right? You're buying it because it's supply and demand. Supply and demand comes back to household formations. People having, you know, getting married, moving out of mom and dad's house. So in this case, take Chester County, 5,760 household formations. The first-time home buyers of that number is going to be 4,351. We're only expected to build 2,000 homes. The last time I checked, when your inventory keeps going down, your prices don't typically go down with them, they go up, right? There's more demand. We are in a major, major crisis in this country, by the way, on building right now. Building from the standpoint of the regulation to build and the time frame it takes to put these houses in the ground. I don't know how we're going to catch up. Guys, Fannie and Freddie came out and said, you know, hey, we're around 4+ million. No, we're not. If you count the number of people that have come across the border, we're 8 million homes underbuilt. Gary Keller agrees with the number. It's the number. So we're nowhere even close to having enough supply. So to think with 42% equity, when you're talking to your clients that are going to tell you, no, I don't want to go up $5,000 more, I'm going to rent for the next year. You need to control the conversation and turn it around and explain to them these numbers, because they don't know them. They're not bad people. They're opinionated. They're probably powerful in their positions wherever they work, and they're used to telling people how it is. They can't tell you how it is when it's in real estate if you have the numbers. It's not I feel, again, no I feel, I think, here's the numbers. And once those people have these numbers, they're going to understand. So again, watch your pessimistic people out there. Okay. It's okay. I want us all to virtually right now. Okay. Cause there's going to be a lot of pessimistic people out there that they're gonna be like, all right, you know what? That was great information, Bill. But I still don't believe you. I think the housing market's going to crash. That's fine. Everybody virtually hold hands and say this. Not my client. Do not put that client in your car. It's okay. Work on other leads. That is the key. You know, look, secret of the universe, guys, right? Make more calls. You have more leads. All right, if you want more leads too, here's some things that you can work on. Guys, we have first-time homebuyer grants, general grants, 12,500 moves the needle. If you utilize these in social media, this will get the phone ringing for you. Okay, put them in social media, talk to our marketing department. We will put these things together for you. You can send them to your database. You can use HomeBot, again, if you want to go through that in more detail. One of the other things, if you work with attorneys or financial planners, guys, I teach continuing education. They get continuing education hours from us for divorce and financial planning for certified divorce mortgage planning. We teach people how to write so that you can qualify on both the homes. Divorce is the gift that keeps on giving for real estate agents, because sometimes you can get a listing, a purchase, and another purchase, right? 3 deals in one, right? It's terrible to say, I feel horrible, but look, that's the reality of it. But you need to be a professional, understand how to, we teach those attorneys how to write divorce decrees, property settlement agreements so that both parties can qualify, and we're really good at getting you the lead then. So talk to me about that if it's something that you're interested in. That's all I got. Why don't I open it up here for questions?
Bill, there were a couple questions on the chat. What was the book title again? That Steve asked that question.
What was the book title?
I think it was Lead, for God's sake.
Oh, Lead, for God's sake. Yeah. That's a good one for you, Steve. You need some wholesome reading. How about, what other questions do we have here?
That was it.
Is the recording being sent to everybody, or do you have like the slides available for the math? Like,
Yeah, we definitely have the slides. Guys, the key to this is, if you guys want to do any home buying seminars, and I gave you a quick version of this because we talked about so much, you know, so many other things. If you want to do home buying seminars, if you want to do real estate forecasts, I'll do them with you. And here, you take your 2-3 slides that you want to cover, I'll run with the rest, right? So however you want to structure those, or if you just want to bring your people on ours, that's why we're doing them every 2 weeks. I don't mind doing them every week. But if you want to do them every 2 weeks, that's your sales that's just the starting of your sales process. You're getting them on a call. And I'm sorry, I didn't hit this part, and this is the most important thing. Guys, the reason why you need to get them on a home buying seminar or a forecast is because you cannot do it from your car. You can't just talk off the cuff. It's going to sound salesy. Your loan officer will never be able to do it either, because they don't have the attention span to listen for that long. They're going to look, we're going through closing costs, their credit reports, you know, loan programs, payments. They don't have a half an hour to like really dissect the market and look at, you know, what's happened through history when the Federal Reserve has raised interest rates and what that effect is going to be on inflation and unemployment and how that's going to affect interest rates, the number of people that are going to come in the market. They're just not going to be able to do it. But if you do it scheduled, right, and you know every other week and you're constantly getting your people on there, you're going to close at a much higher ratio. So, you know, try not to be salesy. Just like, look, I know with leads, hey, I'm going to meet him at the house one time. And again, not to go, Adam Boxman, always, he's one of the only, he sticks to the buyer's consultation. He gets them in an office, gets them in front of them, makes them, beats their ear down before he gets them in the car to make sure that they understand the market, they understand the process and everything else. That's why he closes so many deals, guys. Because he focuses, again, let's go back to this. This is, you know, you guys, this might show up on your desks, right? Every home offer is won before they see a home. That's the key. Before they see a home, guys, is the key. I can't stress it enough. What other questions do we have? Anybody with anything else? Stacy, Taylor, Tony. Fred, Diane, anybody with any questions, anything else I can cover?
All good, man. Thank you.
Good, thanks, Tony. Well, thank you guys. Hey, I really appreciate it. Hit me offline if you had any other questions that I can answer, and I just appreciate your time today.
Thanks, Bill.
All right, thanks, Janique. Appreciate you commenting too, Janique.
Great job, Billy. Good job.
I appreciate it, Tom. Take care, guys.
Thanks.
You guys.
Bye.
See you now.